All right, so this is a build showcase for a less than 15 divine, 200 rarity lightning cast on shock lightning conduit build that I put together today over the past 2 hours. I spent about 13 divines on it, definitely less than 15. That was my goal. Um, and I wanted to be able to clear breaches while delirious. So the map that I'm going to be doing here is this, where it's 36% delirious and there's a breach on it. Um, it's taking all the regular breach nodes. The only ones that really affect difficulty are increased density and increased damage from breach monsters. I'll show you my gem setup. There's nothing crazy here. No 6 links at all. No level 20 gems. This level 19. I'm not even going to use these items or these skills. This one is level 19. Archmage is level 19, but it has +1 to corruption, but that's not too difficult to get since you don't have to have any extra slots on it. And then Cast on Shock is also level 19. It's a 6 link, but I don't have the 6 link socketed. So that's what I got. On the passive tree, no crazy jewels or anything. I bought all of my jewels for less than 1 divine total. They're pretty easy to find. Nothing crazy, just some energy gain jewels. No Against the Darkness or anything like that. Very repeatable for a budget player. And when I say budget, it's obviously if you're just starting out, it might seem daunting to get 12 divines, but I think that if you get a little bit of rarity bit by bit while you're running maps, it won't be that difficult for you to get there. Alright, I'm interjecting here because I forgot to actually talk about how the build functions. I don't want to go in too deep. I think I could do that in a separate video if you're interested in learning the ins and outs of this build and why it shows every single thing that I did. But I do want to give you an overview of how it functions as a whole. So to start, we'll talk about the passive tree. There are 3 major keystones that we use. One is Mind Over Matter. What this means is that all damage is taken from your mana before your life. And we combine that with Chaos Inoculation, which makes us immune to chaos damage, but our max life is just 1. But because mana is not our life pool, that downside isn't as penalizing for us. The other thing that we do is we take Eldritch Battery, which converts all of our energy shield to mana. So that allows us another way to scale both survivability because mana is now our life, and damage because mana adds damage to Archmage. You might notice that even though we're converting all of our mana or energy shield to mana, we still have a mana pool, and that's because of the Everlasting Gaze amulet here. What it does is it takes, after you've converted everything, you gain 27%. So gains happen after all conversions. So it takes 27% of your max mana, which is 4,000, and then turns it into energy shield, and then you can actually scale that up with the passives on the tree. So these passives happen after that gain. So we end up with about 3,000 energy shield and 4,000 mana, which is a healthy 7,000 hit pool. That's why we're tanky enough to run through some of those delirium mobs. The other things that we're scaling up, a main driver of damage for Lightning Conduit is our shock magnitude. I don't want to go through everything, but it's things like cast speed, energy shield, elemental damage, lightning penetration, arcane surge values, percent mana. Anywhere we can get stats like that, we're taking them. And then another thing that's pretty important over here, and I don't see a lot of people doing this, but for a budget version, you need a way of dealing with freezes. Because your life is at 1, your freeze threshold is super low, so we deal with that by taking Icebreaker, which means that we have a bunch of extra freeze threshold from our energy shield. So I think this one's pretty important. The other thing that we have to worry about are stuns, and we deal with that through our charm. Okay, now let's actually talk about the gear. There are 2 expensive pieces, and in this build, and one is the Ingenuity. If you don't know what Ingenuity is, it takes your rings and it amplifies the bonuses you get from them. It can roll between 40 and 80% uncorrupted. 50, I wanted one that was at least 50%. 53 is a pretty low roll, and since it's corrupted, these sell for a lot less than an uncorrupted one. I got this for 7 divines. You could probably get a 50% for 6, maybe 5 if you're patient. And if you wanted to do even lower than that, you could probably get away with something in the 40s. You just have to get more bonuses on your other pieces of gear if you do that. So this is really important. And then the other piece that is expensive and makes it function is the Mahual's Machination. This is where we get most of our rarity. So what it does is it takes the socketed soul cores, which we have rarity soul cores socketed in this, and it amplifies them. So this one is a pretty high roll. It's 592% increased effective socketed soul cores. These aren't that expensive. They drop from the Trial Master, and there's a lot of them out there. What is expensive are the soul cores. So I bought these already socketed, and if you do that, you can save some money. So this was 3 divines for me. It's pretty well rolled. I saw some others that were similarly rolled for 3 divines. If you can't find those, if they're already taken, then you might have to socket your own rarity soul cores, and those are kind of expensive. They're 200x each. But those are the 2 big pieces of gear. Once you have those, you're golden. Then you need to scale 3 things. First, mana. Mana is number 1 because that's both survivability and damage. And then energy shield, which is the same thing because it's converted into the mana. That's number 2. Intelligence kind of goes in that same category for me because you get 2 mana for each intelligence. And then it's your resists. You just want to max out your resistances, your fire, lightning, and cold resistance. So for the rings, it's I have a prismatic ring here with a bunch of mana and mana regeneration rate. You want mana regeneration rate at least on one of your rings, and then you catalyst these up with mana catalysts to make them higher. This was originally a 42% mana regen and 175 max mana, and then you catalyst it up to 210 max mana and 50% increased mana regeneration rate. And then the only other things on this are resistances. Same with this. It has some intelligence, which is good because that's more mana. I also was able to get some rarity on this one, which helps us bump over that 200 rarity number. I think we get like 150 rarity from this. Let me check. So without the Mahuatls, I'm at 67% rarity, and then with it, I get up to 205. So someone else can do that math, but it's like a little bit less than 150 rarities coming from this Mahuatl. These gloves, I bought these for 20 exalts. They're nothing special. They got a little bit of rarity, some int, some resistances, a little bit of energy shield, and then I socketed this soul core. These are about 50 to 60 exalts each. These percent mana soul cores, but they're best in slot if you can take them. These boots I bought for 1 exalt. It had a open prefix and open suffix. And then I slammed on life regen and max energy shield. Life regen is useless, but max energy shield is good, so I think we come out even there. And then I put in a increased max mana soul core in there too for another 50 to 60 exalts. I bought these for 30 exalts. You do need a total of 160 spirit to run this build, 100 for Archmage, and then 60 for cast on shock. So the way I got that was through 47 on my body armor, and you can get a corrupted implicit added to spirit on your helmet. I was kind of lucky to get this for 40 exalts. I did socket that mana soul core in there, so that's another 50. So it's like 100 exalts for this. You'll probably have to spend around divine to get something with good resistance, a decent amount of spirit, and some rarity on an energy shield base. But it can be done if you're patient. The other option you can do is just you can get up to 60 spirit on a body armor, but then if they have good things like int or resistances, those are going to be expensive. And the body armor is also a good place to get a ton of energy shield, because they can roll really high energy shield rolls. This one I got for 30 exalts. I think I already said that. This wand, you want at least +3 to lightning spell skills and then some cast speed. Those are the two most important ones. Lightning damage is also really good. If you can get a higher mana roll, that's obviously good too. And then gain percent of damage as extra lightning is another good one here. Or spell damage, that too. This is another place you can get mana regeneration rate if you're struggling on that. Since mana is your life pool and you spend a lot of it using your skills, it's good to have high mana regeneration rate. I guess that's all I have to say for this, and I'll run the map, and I'm going to mute myself because I don't know how good my mic is, but I'll talk to you again after the map is over. Oh, one more thing is I'm level 96, but I took away 6 of my passive points because I want someone as low as level 90 to be able to reproduce this build. So that's why you'll see the 6 passive skill points available here.
None favors me. I can't do that yet. Fall before me. A rare treasure. Victory is mine. There is power in this object. I can feel it.
Alright, so we just finished that map. It wasn't the fastest clear in the world, but it was fairly safe, fairly easy, and that's some pretty difficult content. 36% Delirious, doing those juiced up reaches like that. I think we have about 50 exalts, maybe 50 to 75 exalts worth of stuff on that map. I think if you run maps like these, you can expect to get that at the low end, and then at the high end, you'll drop probably a divine every map or two. Probably maybe 2 or 3 maps with 200% rarity, as long as you're setting your maps correctly. But then it's easy for you to take that money and continue to upgrade this build further, and then you can get to the point where you see those other build creators, they've put hundreds of divines into them, and they can one-shot the pinnacle bosses, the tier 4 pinnacle bosses, or they can clear entire screens instantly. That's one of the great things about this this build on this patch, Cast and Shock Lightning Conduit, it has such a high ceiling, so it's fun. You can keep investing in it. But I think that what other people don't show well is that you can build a tanky version of this build that does plenty of damage, and it's easy to fit 200% rarity in there, so you can continue to farm and get more and more stuff. I'm happy to do a more in-depth look at the choices I made and how I built this for 13 Divines. That'll come later if people are interested. Just let me know in the comments. That's fine. But I'm gonna append some footage from my full build, the closer to 150, 200 Divine version of this that's at 350 rarity, and probably, I don't know, 5 to 10 times the damage. So enjoy that. And again, if you have any questions or want me to go further into how I did this, please let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to do that. Thanks.
it. Garukan favors. Garukan favors me. Darukan favors me.
Remember this ramshackle place? A second home, and yet something seems off, does it not? You've stood against so many horrors and survived. I think it's time to at last test your limits.
A rare treasure.
Let yourself be drawn into the mire.
Die, forgotten! There is power in this object. I can feel it.
Are you trying to cleanse yourself of me?
Didn't break a sweat. Darukan favors me.
You can't get rid of the Exile. I
Die, forgotten! power in this object. I can feel it.
Do you not wonder what tugs at the strings of fate? What stands astride the abyss and beckons you to fall?
Victory is mine. A rare treasure.
Believe me, you will fall, Exile. Sanity my agent of chaos. You shall serve me whether you like it or not. I'm not going anywhere.
I have no space for that.
The doom at the door.